It's cold again at the old fortress, and that of course means testing right away. If in this cold, overcast, well, cloudy weather, and maybe even rainy weather, the eel might still be biting. And for testing, I'm naturally standing at one of the classic spots where eel keeps getting caught. So, a really good spot just to test. Is the weather right for eel or not? Still, it's not the only spot you should try. This is the classic spot. You should definitely test it. On the channel and right in the playlist for the Old Fortress, you'll also find a bunch of other eel fishing videos, like down here at the campground or up here on the bridge, or even way up here. So there are several places where you can catch eel quite nicely again and again, and boom, something's biting again. Yeah, and eel of course you can also catch well on float. Right now I'm a bit unsure, not totally convinced if another eel will bite here today, because often if there are a lot of burbots in one spot, then there might be fewer eels. And there something's biting again, even before I cast. And it's tugging again, similar to a burbot. And yep, it is a burbot, actually a pretty big one, 5 kilograms burbot. So here it seems, yeah, less eel, more burbot. Which isn't bad either, because burbot is really worth it for silver. So if we've got a spot where we can catch a lot of burbot at night, then that's actually worth it too. And the nice thing is, you don't have to use float here. You can just stand here with a bottom rod, aye aye, next big burbot. Okay, if it's full of burbot here, the eel doesn't stand a chance. Which, sure, would be nice. But yeah, burbot's definitely here and ready. And sleeper goby during the day, so during the day or evening hours, bam, first fish right away, a trophy. Caught a sleeper goby. Sleeper goby's also absolutely worth it for silver value. Burbot right after, that's also great. I'm curious what else will bite here. This is looking really, really good so far. And like I said earlier, the water temperature, or rather the overall temperature at the water, that's always important. Ideally, you go for eel and co only when the water's around, or best under 15 degrees Celsius. I'm gonna cast again real quick. Let's throw it over there. Yeah, and now I'm placing the floats, or if you want a bottom fish, of course you can use a bottom setup, nicely along the edge. With bottom setup, that's around 6 to 7 meters. If you want to use a line clip, depending on how you're standing, from here, maybe more like 6 meters. From over there, maybe more like 7. So roughly in that area, just cast in. That should fit pretty well. Right now, I'm also using a relatively light setup. Let's check real quick. Yeah, light setup, which means just a size 8 hook. That's what I used a few weeks ago. There was another hot eel phase then. Even caught trophies with it. So yeah, size 8 worked really well. 6.4 kilogram fluorocarbon, also only that. So not much breaking strain, just 6 kilograms. But we actually want to go in finer, more delicate, so really not too rough. Because a while ago, RF4 already said that eel is actually a cautious fish, which partly explains why it's often hard to catch. Yeah, and like I said, these kinds of temperatures are ideal, right? So the next day, 12 degrees, cool, perfect. Then comes a rainy day, cool, constant rain, really, really good. So the next few days, look at that, in a few hours, 11 degrees, cold. Those are ideal conditions for eel, so it's really worth going for eel again. And then you can also mix things up. Size 8 hook, of course, to test, is he even here? But if you know he's there, you can even go up to a size 1 hook. And there's the next one, but not hooked. Ah, too bad. That one faked me out at first. And depth-wise, if you want to use a float here too, I've got it set right at 1.25 meter deep at the edge. 120 to 1.25 meters works well at most bank spots here at the Old Fortress. You can use that quite a bit. Like I said, if 1.25 meter works well, that means the bait is lying on the bottom. Then just raise it a bit. Usually 1.20 meter is already enough, and you're right back in bottom range. We of course catch eel at night, and during the night, there are different phases when it bites especially well. And one of those phases is starting now, so around 3 or 4 a.m. That can really be a hot phase again, so a real hot eel period kicking in again. That means we might have an increased chance to go for eel in that time, to catch an eel. Whatever that was, could have been a small eel, definitely possible. Sometimes they give that little lift bite. So cast out again, especially around this time. And this all goes on, I'd say, until around 10 a.m. If you then notice that more and more sleeper gobies are biting, then just switch spots, switch bait, or just keep going for sleeper goby, because it's worth it, like I said. For a first test at these temps, I'm pretty happy. Been here for just under 20 minutes now, and already caught some really nice fish. We'll check the keep net in a second, see how much silver these fish bring. And I'm not discouraged, because somewhere the eel will be again, especially in this kind of weather. So I'll spend the day doing some bottom fishing, maybe try the zig rig again for a moor, and then the next night when it's properly cold again, I'll head back down to the campground. That classic spot down there works well regularly too. Same deal, 6 to 7 meters from the edge, along a reed line, or along a duckweed patch. And right in that area, the eel often bites again and again. And hey, something's biting again. What do we got? 226 grams. I think something similar just nibbled. Again with that lift bite, so the float tips, and, well then that tiny worm, that tiny eel, actually got hooked. Well, that's not really what we want, but it does show something's biting. And you only notice stuff like that eel is actually around if you're using the right small bait or hook. And here we go again, sleeper goby. Yep, it's 6 in the morning. What's happening? The classic night fish, like burbot, they're not active anymore. Their activity drops because of the time. It's 6 a.m. What happens? The sleeper goby comes back. But the small eel could also spawn, could get to the bait, and so no more burbots now. Maybe 1 or 2 still, they could still bite in the early morning, but most of them are probably gone by now because of the time. Now other fish can move in. That's why you can definitely stay longer for eel, like I said. 9 or 10 a.m. isn't bad at all. First of all, a quick look at the cafe, and that's looking good. We already got a burbot in there. We can turn that one in, 24 silver, very nice. And then let's check the fish market, sort by price. And there you go, sleeper goby trophy, 40 silver for that. That's really good. So just like that, sleeper goby trophy, you catch them fairly often, let's say. Burbot, also really good. 5 kilogram burbot, 26 silver, 18 silver, 14 silver for 2 kilograms. Those are really, really good prices. We'll definitely take that. If we have the chance to catch burbot, let's go for it, for sure. Of course, an eel wouldn't be bad either. Brings in good money too. But overall, this is really not bad at all. 130, or over 130 silver now, with the cafe tasks combined. That's solid. If you don't have the right bait or the right setup for eel, and I'd say at least 5 or 6 kilogram setups, then just don't fish for eel. Like you just saw, eel is not easy to catch, not always there. You can't just walk up to the old fortress and catch eel. If you're missing the setup, the experience, the bait, and so on, just go over to Windenbach. At Windenbach in the last live stream, we had a comp. We caught several Don Colbus. And a Don Colbus brings similar silver, often 14 silver, and sometimes you get 5 of those in one night. That's not even that hard anymore. You catch them way better in warm temps, so Don Colbus preferably at 25 degrees Celsius and above, and the eel, just like now, ideally under 15 degrees Celsius, and best of all, in rainy weather. Then it really works well. So now it's 8 a.m. I'm packing up here, we'll take that one too, and I'm heading off to fish for a moor with the big heavy setup. That's the most worthwhile for me now. If you like this, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I think it's awesome. And we'll see each other in the next video or the next live stream. Until then, tight lines.